It's devastating.
This is hard because our brains have been poisoned about what autism means, okay? Now careful, because on the internet, autism means that you probably don't shower that much, so girls stay away from you, so you blame some self-diagnosed neurodivergency on why nobody likes you, okay? That's like what autism means on the internet. But autism in real life, remember, it's ASD, is autism spectrum disorder. There's a whole spectrum of people that can be autistic. And on the lower end of that spectrum, you have people that need caretakers for their entire life. You have people that will become violent, become unhinged, that need adult male strong people to like keep them under control, right? This is one of the biggest like emotional triggers that I have as a parent, is I hate the idea that I could not be with him due to his age, his height, and in over and over and over and over and over again.
Go f yourself.
This is going to be a controversial take, but I'm sorry. A behavior plan is put in place for this reason. You do not take away an autistic person's possessions without warning or reading how to do so. If you're working with autistic children, you have to follow the IEP so this doesn't happen. If this child was this violent, then he simply shouldn't have been in a public school setting, so that's failure on the system. Many steps were missed before this child acted violently. Oh, Am I coming out with the parent take right now? Assuming this child did have like severe autism or whatever, this tweet is 1,000,000,000% correct. Assuming that the child, especially if the child was on an IEP, and if the child has like crazy autism or whatever, yeah, then this would absolutely be the fault of the school for not having whatever they needed in place to deal appropriately with this child. Child is a big child, Jesus. But the mother explains the situation of the video. Hold on.
Nobody. I am so sorry for what my son did. And
Oh, the optics. God damn it. Sorry. Okay. Christ. Sorry. Let's go.
Nobody should ever have to go through that. But at the same time, please consider that my son has had a hard life, and he's gone through so much trauma in his life. He has autism. Please show mercy to him. It's devastating.
This is hard because our brains have been poisoned about what autism means, okay? Now careful, because on the internet, autism means that you probably don't shower that much, so girls stay away from you, so you blame some self-diagnosed neurodivergency on why nobody likes you, okay? That's like what autism means on the internet. But autism in real life, remember, it's ASD, is autism spectrum disorder. There's a whole spectrum of people that can be autistic. And on the lower end of that spectrum, you have people that need caretakers for their entire life, okay? You have people that will become violent, become unhinged, that need adult male strong people to like keep them under control, right? People that are on the spectrum, on the real spectrum, not the Twitter one, okay? They run the gamut in terms of like how violent they can be. So when she says my son is autistic, now I don't know 100% because I don't know her story, okay? I'm sorry, what did Hassan say? I'm being confidently, confident, whatever the fuck Hassan said to insult me. I'm being that, yeah. But assuming he has like an actual, like a severe, like low functioning autistic person, this is, yeah.
That my heart is breaking. I'm terrified for my child. I feel like if he gets sentenced to prison, it's a death sentence for him. He's scared. And to have your child call and cry and say, I don't want to die, it's awful. And I don't understand why. That in his IEP, it was stated that in the intensive behavior group home that he was living in,
in schools, so if he had an IEP, that means that they were already going through the process. So IEP is individualized education plan. An IEP is when you have a child with special needs, or I think it's just special needs in general. Usually there are specific or unique ways that a school will deal with that child. There's like a plan to monitor the behavior and to track year through year, or they might go to a totally different, like a special school for it. So if he has an IEP, then it's probably already documented or registered that he has like a special way of associating with them, engaging with them and everything, yeah.
had to remove it as a consequence. They called in the crisis team. And the original IEP called for a token economy for so he could, to motivate him to do his work. He could earn tokens to then go to like a snack closet. This year, he had a new teacher who, it's not Joan. Joan was not his teacher. She's the para. He had a new teacher who, it was her first year teaching, and I don't know if she didn't understand the IEP, if she didn't read it, but she approached the group home and asked the group home to send it in.
Listen, for anybody who watches that video, it's hard for them to get past it, and I can understand they'd be devastated for Joan Nadich, the victim in this attack, and I can imagine you feel devastated for her as well. You wouldn't have wanted this to happen. You're obviously torn between the suffering that she's going through, and then of course the son that you love. It's just odd that he was in, this kind of public schooling to begin with. Do you know why this was the situation? Why he was actually even...
Is it expected for an average teacher to deal with this behavior? If he's in a school that has IEPs, then it's the responsibility of the school to make sure that the teachers are capable of dealing with students like this. This would be the equivalent of having like a 90-pound, 4'11" woman who's like a prisoner guard trying to corral 20 of the most violent. Yeah, you have, or you should. It's the responsibility, the obligation of the school to make sure that they can deal with the students that they have with the IEPs they're on. Yeah, of course. So whether this teacher didn't know, or the school fucked up, or the teacher fucked up, or whatever, but yeah, this is the obligation that the school has.
Even in?
Yeah, this is one of the really weird things. I'd never heard an argument for charter schools that I had agreed with before I had somebody on my staff that actually had a child that needed an IEP, right? Mm-hmm. And this kid had all these problems. They were biting people at school. They were biting teachers. And so Massachusetts opened up a special charter school for these kinds of special needs kids, because ASD disorders, this is just something public schools have to deal with nowadays. So I don't know, it's the more you get into any of these policies, the more you understand it's a little more difficult than black and white.
I understand what you're saying there, and I'm sympathetic towards it as a rich American. I love anything I can pay more money to get people. The only thing I don't like about the idea of charter schools and private schools and all of this is okay, this is one of the biggest emotional triggers that I have as a parent, is I hate the idea of a kid's lot in life being decided by how much money their parents have, and that there are some essential services or needs that could be held from a child because their parents don't have money. For stuff like special education and stuff like being able to treat children in a way that is in accordance with whatever disabilities or developmental delays they might have, this has to be something that is available to every single child. And it's not just a matter of can you afford the charter school or not. That's the only. I understand there are ways to make it so that the you give them vouchers or whatever for the charter school, but fuck that. That's always my number one feeling against private schools and charter schools and stuff like that, is that this should be available to all children. We have to be able to fund this and provide for this. It can't just be for the people that have the money for it. Although I understand what you're saying for the unique challenges. Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying I'm an advocate for charter schools. I guess when I was growing up in Mississippi, there was a semester that I literally went to school in a trailer with no air conditioner, because that's how underfunded everything was. Literally a trailer in a construction parking lot. That was school for an entire year. It was so hot in Mississippi, we would just go outside and have school in the parking lot, because that was cooler. So I've seen a really well-funded school district in Massachusetts where we spend a lot more on this stuff versus one of the poorest states in the nation. Mm-hmm. I'm 100% with you. I think this is why I think the federal government should take a stronger role in education and guaranteeing outcomes. But I'm just saying for stuff like this where it's hard to get political buy-in, because every single one of those parents with kids in ASD disorder, they've got different, it's hard to get buy-in about what the direction you should go is. And this particular format of it made it easier to get funding and buy-in from the state. So, it's problematic. It led to better outcomes in this one case for someone I knew.
Yeah. 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 What
do you see this as somebody that hires a lot of people? Because I have been hiring people for teens for, my God, it's like over 20 years now. And the number of people that just going through the rotation that have like autism as something you have to deal with as a project manager, it just keeps going up and up and up and up. And like when I first started managing projects, I didn't know anything about like how to have someone on staff with this and to like, you know, like accommodate them and make it a good workplace. You've got to see this too with some people you end up working with
that have special needs that need to be accommodated for.
Well, just it seems like there are a lot of people in the streaming space in general, and I don't know, like people in your team, do you not have people you end up working with professionally that like have autism?
I'm trying to think. Probably, but like at a far more limited degree, I think. Not like, we're not talking like medium, low functioning autistic people, I don't think. So no, I don't think I deal with that many mental disabilities in terms of that, but also I'm employing like contractors and stuff that are working from home and everything. I'm sure if I had like an office or an actual workspace, it would probably be a lot different.
I think for engineering, you're just absolutely going to run into it. And it blows my mind that we don't talk about this more in college. Like, I think it should be like one of these standardized things you have to learn before you get out, because it just, I'm not talking like you can get better outcomes on a project by just understanding what people need and then changing a few things. Like, it's not that hard to go, like, if you've got somebody with autism on your staff, like give them questions, like a list of what the questions will be before the meeting, so they can kind of answer it better. It leads to better outcomes for the team in my experience.
Sure. Yeah, that's not surprising me. Yeah. Before I get into everything, I just want to say that I am still very new to all of this. I don't know who I can trust, who I can tell things to, who I can be myself around, who I can allow in my private life. I also want to say I never want to be the person who can't be involved in things or around others simply because I run my mouth or expose people. I pride myself in being a good person and being as true to myself as possible. For those of you who have confided in me and trusted me with sensitive information, please do not feel as if this tweet puts you at the risk of being twit-longered or that you cannot trust me. Oh, I feel so much at ease now. I've done a lot of bad things in my past and I've hurt a lot of people, and I'm trying my best to make up for it. That being said, I'm posting this in the hopes that people can be held accountable for their shitty behavior and be better men, better people. I want to say a few very important things right off the bat. 1, both parties involved were consenting adults. 2, I was under the influence of alcohol. I'm a lightweight and get drunk very easily. 3, I do not believe that being under the influence of alcohol means you cannot consent. And 4, I'm sober and my head is clear while writing this. Okay, well then why the fuck are we writing anything at all? That's kind of weird, but okay. I feel like I'm about to read something really stupid, but... When I visited Montreal, my reason for being there was to meet my Counter-Strike 2 clan as well as another female creator. While being there, Persec randomly reached out to me and asked how long I would be there and if I would be open to hanging out. I didn't know who he was, only that he was involved with some drama about getting paid for work and that he had tweeted me to form an alliance. At that time, the tweet was very confusing, and I remember not understanding why he would tweet that to me. After agreeing to hang out, I told him that I would be having dinner and that he was more than welcome to meet me at the restaurant, and then we could figure it all out as the night went on. Persec arrived, we had one drink at the restaurant and spent time talking about ourselves, doing the whole getting to know you thing. After the fact, we went to my Airbnb so I could change into something more comfortable and proceeded to go bar hopping. At the last bar we went to, that was when the alcohol began to kick in and my inhibitions lowered. Against my better judgment, I invited him back to my Airbnb to watch a movie. While watching the movie, he initiated conversations about XQC. He revealed a lot of sensitive information about him, as well as showing me photos he snuck of him while XQC was unaware of photos being taken of him. In addition to those things, he incessantly bragged about the perks of being friends with him, i.e. getting a streamer backpack and not having to pay for it. Where is Felix at? Where the f*** is my free streamer backpack? A loser? I am not friends with Felix anymore, by the way. Getting a streamer backpack and not having to pay for it, things of that nature. But what did he get? Did he get Twitch stickers for free too? Christ. Being that I was drunk and honestly excited that I was going to have sex for the first time in forever, I just acted interested and hoped he would make a move. Eventually, moves were made and it happened. Everything that happened afterward is something that I haven't really been able to get over. After finishing, Persec proceeded to tell me that he came in me, and he then proceeded to lie and say I told him to do so, which is false. I am very aware that it was a consensual choice to have unprotected sex, but who in their right mind is nutting in a woman they just met? What makes it even more upsetting is that while he offered to buy a plan B, he never did. After the fact, we laid in bed and obviously things were awkward. I was extremely uncomfortable, but my toxic trait is ignoring my own wants and feelings to make sure those around me are comfortable and not upset. Hey, real talk, guys. I just want to give you a super, super, super big heads up. Super big heads up if you haven't figured this out yet. Anytime, always, without fail, when people tell you, my biggest problem is I'm a people pleaser. I do so many things for other people. These people, I have met them in my life. They are always the biggest energy vampires ever. They are never these types of people. They are never like this. And I've met people that do have this toxic trait, that are people pleasers, and they never say it. They usually just blame themselves when things go wrong, and they usually just are like, I don't know why everyone's f***ing me over. I feel like no people are good friends to me, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's usually these types of people that have like a lot of self-doubt or whatever. But these people like Merc, who are vampires, who take, and want, and do very little, if anything, for other people. Very rarely when people are saying this, like, my toxic trait is that I ignore my own wants and feelings. It's almost never true. Yeah, just as a heads up, in case you hadn't figured that out yet. Another big red flag is when someone calls themselves an empath, okay? That's almost never true. I spent the rest of the night reassuring him that it was okay and that I wasn't mad. It was my fault for lying and not being honest. We fell asleep, and the next day I prepared for my flight back home. After returning home, I felt extremely sick about the whole situation. Regardless of my looks or behavior on the internet, ultimately I am very hard on myself when I make decisions that go against my character, i.e. having a one-night stand with someone. It made it even worse when he finished in me, and I had to worry about that. Okay. Even though he did all those things, I made the decision to keep him around simply because I was lonely and he gave me attention when no one else would. Well, he didn't do all those things. You did them together, to be clear, right? We would play Valorant together or have Discord calls to where he would continuously brag. Okay, so a lot of people are bringing up that I said a while ago that I was highly empathetic, so I must be a liar too. Listen, you can look at my public record with how I treat people, with how I pay people, with how I engage with employees, with how I engage with other content creators, with how I put other streamers on my streams, with the number of careers that I've made, with the number of people that I've hosted and helped and have spawned like side careers off of. Listen, if you think that I'm this type of person, then that's fine. Think what you want. I don't give a f, okay? But, you know, if you want to make the comparison, I'll guess about. I don't care. Think about what you want to think, okay? I think I have a track record to back up when I say shit. But, hey, maybe not. We would play Valorant together or have Discord calls to where he would continuously brag about his relationship with XQC, once again, talk shit about the people who didn't get paid for their work, and even go as far as to imply that he would see if XQC would fly him out to Vegas for the F1 event, being that he just turned 21. I want to add that every time we talked, I was extremely high, so my decision-making was probably not the best, and I take full accountability for that, okay? The last time we had contact on Discord was after an intimate conversation and me admitting I had a crush on him. Again, I am aware I am brain dead, but that I could not be with him due to his age, his height, and the fact that I was seeing some telltale signs of unhealthy infatuation due to sexual contact. Okay. After that, the contact dwindled and he began ignoring me and not responding to my messages. I spoke to someone unrelated to the situation who confirmed everything I was worried about in the beginning. I tried to ignore what I heard from other people about Persec, and I was being naive and believing that everything everyone said was unfounded. The more others told me, the more I realized his behavior was in fact unacceptable, and that he's in fact a shitty person, for lack of a better term. What has he done so far that's been shitty? Other than like overhype his relationship with XQC, I guess. What did he do? What I want people to take away from this is the following. I'm very aware that this seems like I'm just molding because I'm unhappy with being treated like a one-night stand. Treated like a one-night stand. It could not be further from the truth. Persec's behavior is extremely disgusting, and I didn't deserve being treated the way I did, especially when it comes to the invasive act being came in without my consent. I really don't like, and I've seen people, even people that I know personally, throw around this consent word over and over again to like imply rape. It's super gross. Like, I didn't, wait, hold on. When somebody's putting their dick, okay, inside of your vagina, and then it's going out and in over and over and over and over and over again, that's like, you're gonna come. That's what that means. That's what's happening. That's the road that you're down. Okay, that's the road that you're heading down. So like, it reminds me. I don't know if you've ever been on like Pornhub or like X Hamster or any of the, or YouPorn or whatever, and you read a title and it's like, guy surprisingly comes in woman's vagina or mouth or whatever, and I'll click the video, and the video is him f***ing a woman or him getting a blowjob. And I'm like, well, what's surprising about this? It's like, it's That's what happens when you do these things. It's, yes, they orgasm. Like, obviously it's a premature ejac fetish or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's funny. Yeah, like, he came in without my consent. Bro, if he was f***ing without a rubber, I mean, like, yeah, this is stupid, but... furthermore, the idea that you can freely perpetuate private information and trust it to you by others is extremely disrespectful and one of the most disgusting things you can do in the industry, no matter how much you trust the other person. If it is not your information, do not share it, especially if the person telling you things is already struggling with finding genuine, trusting people. It's not his job to babysit your shit, but okay. If I was like any other person on the internet, I could easily take the information I know and use it to my advantage. Leaking can ruin a person's confidence, image, or their career. I mean, that's essentially what you're trying to do to this guy, right? That is what's going on here. I tried my best to get over this privately with people I consider friends, but after finding out even more about Persec and his behavior, seeing absolutely no remorse and seeing it affect my own mental health, I'm taking this opportunity to clear my conscience. And doing this, I hope that public embarrassment will teach others responsibility when having casual sex, take confidentiality seriously, and that humility, although rare, is always a better option. And just to be clear, there will be no baby Persecs running around. This is an unbelievably crazy statement. So she's just trying to like blow a guy up because she's mad that, I guess he didn't love her or something? I'm not even sure. Let's see. We got tweets by Persec. I had sex with her in Montreal and I accidentally busted her bra. What do you want me to say? LeMayo. Read her follow-up tweet. Hold on. I don't know what the follow-up tweet is. Where? Let's see. OME5. I don't know what that. I don't know what OME5 means. Can you text me later when you end your stream? You called me at 3 a.m. when I was sleeping, then blocked me everywhere. I don't think I did. Oh, Merc did this to me too a lot. That's why I stopped responding to her. It's because she would call me at like really weird times, and then she would like delete her messages and sometimes would remove me. The last time she did, I just didn't add her again. Or when she tried to add me, I just ignored it. Yeah. This is OME5. Oh, it's an emote? Okay. You hurt my feelings and you lied about everything. And I look fucking stupid. I should have never slept with you. She said, he said, that's an okay regret to have off about that. But what the fuck did I lie about? I didn't make you look like anything. I haven't mentioned our interactions to anyone. I liked you. It doesn't matter, whatever, bye. I'm just so fucking confused. Can you elaborate? Bro, you texted me in the middle of the night when I was sleeping, then blocked me on everything when I didn't pick up. I never lied about literally anything, and I never made you look stupid. Oh, because you weren't asleep? Oh, so she was obsessed with him. I needed you, and then doesn't matter. I promised I was sleeping. I woke up to it the next day. Oh, and he posts a sleep chart. No, my phone fucked up. Enjoy your sleep. There's nothing to twit longer. Yeah, Jesus. Okay.
I may have said, hey, like, yes, and indeed it does. And I may have said, hey, like, spit in my mouth, come in me type shit. And I guess he took me seriously and he did it.
Came out.
And then he's like, yeah, I came in you. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, well, yeah, you said it. I was like, well, I didn't mean actually come in me. Like, what the fuck?
Bro, Merc, isn't Merc 28 and the guy was like 20? I mean, like, bro, you're the adult here. Somebody messaged me and said, Destiny, somebody said, Destiny, that's dumb as fuck. People all the time have sex and don't expect you to nut in them. That's something you usually have to talk about beforehand. It's like a guy sticking his thumb in a girl's ass and not asking beforehand. You can't just be like, these things happen when you're fucking. I guess I'm wondering, where is the line when it comes to things just being acceptable, even though it wasn't necessarily talked about beforehand? I'm not in back and forth mode or debate mode. I'm just gonna tell you, if you start having sex with somebody and you're both unprotected and they're fucking you, unless you have an explicit conversation about them coming in you, that's probably where things are headed. They should ask you, they should stop, they should figure it out if for no other reason for their own protection. But if somebody is you unprotected and you're vulnerable, bro, why wouldn't you say something like, hey, how are we ending this? Okay, because sex generally ends with at least one party orgasming, and that party is usually the man. Yeah, obviously you should have the conversation, but why would you rely on somebody to do that? That would be a thing you would talk about. That's Jesus. Can you clarify why they feel they should be on the internet? I don't know, because Merc is unhinged. She just puts everything in there. She's probably looking for just validation, sympathy. It's why everybody leaks shit. TLDR to my last tweet. My loyalty lies with XQC, and I hope that in coming out with this, he can clean up camp. I also will use this as a lesson to hold myself accountable, treat myself better. Holy shit, it feels so good to get that off my shit. Yeah, well, like I said, she's looking for validation or yes queens and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Destiny is expected that even if you're f***ing raw, you should pull out. That's the standard. Coming inside is something you discuss. If you don't discuss anything, pulling out is expected. I disagree. I don't think that's the case. That hasn't been my experience with the majority of women that I've. If a woman is on top of me, well, maybe it's expected for the guy, but I'll have a woman 9 times out of 10, she'll be riding me or I'll be f***ing her, and I'm usually the one that has to stop. Or she'll be going, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna come soon. Let's talk about some shit, like what's going on or whatever. And then she'll be like, oh, like blah, blah, blah. Like, just come at me, it'll be okay. That's 9 times out of 10, usually women are just like, going for it. And this is something that's blown my mind. I don't know when this became normal or whatever. A lot of women I've been with are just like, oh, I'll just take a plan B. I'm like, isn't that harsh on your body? Is that really, you're okay with that? I met a lot of women that will say shit like that. I'm like, let's slow down and not do this, okay? Maybe we're making bad decisions right now, okay? Yeah, I would not assume. Also, why would you assume? Why would you assume that somebody's going to pull out when they're f***ing you with no birth control? You should have that conversation beforehand, okay? Yeah, you should have that conversation beforehand. Let's watch this first. What's going on here? What is going on here?
Obviously, you know that there's a public perception that, and you're clarifying this now, but there's a public perception that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself.
But
go f*** yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise.
How do you think then about the economics of X? If part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift, maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising. If you believe that this is the one part of your business where you will be beholden to those who have this view, what do you do?
F-Y.
I understand that, but there's a reality too, right?
Yes. No.
I mean, Linda Yaccarino's right here, and she's got to sell advertising.
Absolutely. So, totally. No. Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do? It's going to kill.
I know you probably don't care about this, but this vampire has had a platform to spread borderline essay allegations by me. Would love to clear things up if given the chance. Listen, I love you, but I just don't care that much. Nobody on my stream believes Merc. Everybody knows that her statements were wild. I don't know if anybody anywhere on the internet ever believes Merc. Like, nobody cares about what she says. You're fine. Nobody thinks that you're a sexual assaulter. Like, trust me, you're good. You're clean, chief.
Company.
Carino's right here, and she's got to sell advertising.
Absolutely. So, totally. No. Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do? It's going to kill the company.
And do you think that
and the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
But those advertisers, I imagine, are going to say, we didn't kill the company.
Oh yeah.
They're going to say,
tell it to Earth.
But they're going to say, Elon, that you killed the company because you said these things and that they were inappropriate things and that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform, right? That's what they're going to say.
And let's see how Earth responds to that.
I don't understand. So here's something I'm actually curious about, because I don't have a deep understanding of like all the underlying financial stuff. What is Elon Musk's exposure ultimately to Twitter going bankrupt? Like, how much money is he actually looking to lose? Because it feels like he's kind of like giving up, or I can never tell. I say that, but I can't tell. Ask Earth. He forgot that advertisement runs the world. If he doesn't need the money or care about being a profitable company, it just wants to be a new form of digital free speech, then he's on the right track, I guess. Okay.